This is Eric Magidson with CIS070, Introduction to Computers Using Windows Vista. This is part 3 of Unit E, Customizing Windows. So let's take a look at finally using the sidebar. Now remember I had said that the sidebar takes up a lot of processing power because those gadgets are always working and doing things. But sometimes they can be useful. So to start up the sidebar, I'm going to go into Start. I'm going to go into Control Panel because if you notice I don't have it here yet. I'm going to go into Appearance and Personalization and the Windows Sidebar Properties. So here I'm going to turn on the sidebar when Windows starts. I can define if the sidebar is going to be on the right or the left. Is it always going to be on top of other windows? Well, of course, that would take up a bunch of screen real estate, so I'm not going to do that. At this point, I can hit OK. And for the first time, I just hit Add Gadgets to Sidebar. The sidebar comes up. Here are the default gadgets that I can have. Things like a clock. I can change the clock. A little picture viewer from My Pictures, headlines if I'd like. To get rid of something I don't necessarily want in the sidebar, I can just click the X next to the gadget, close the gadget, and it disappears from my sidebar. Now, there's more default items in the gadgets than here. I can go to page 2. The book has us install the weather gadget, so I can double click on it. And here's my weather for Redmond, Washington. For whatever reason, it thinks I'm in Redmond. And I can close. Well, let's go change this. I can come in here, choose Bend, Oregon. Why did it choose Redmond, Washington? Isn't that the default where Microsoft is? And then we can find that it will change. At least it should have changed. Let's see if it can find it. There's Bend, Oregon. Fahrenheit or Celsius. Say OK. There's Bend. Says it's sunny today, which it is. To move items in the sidebar, I can just move them around in an order I like. And use the sidebar if I so choose. If I want to, I can certainly right-click, close the sidebar. It's not really gone though, folks. It's just closed it from my desktop. Notice down here there's a new icon in my taskbar. That's the Windows sidebar. I can double-click and bring it back up. Now, as a reminder, these aren't the only sidebar gadgets that are available. I can go out to the web and get more gadgets online and see what other kind of gadgets are available. But again, remember, the more gadgets we have, the more things that are being used. Ton of gadgets for Twitter, for your Twitter feed, for Google search, etc. So play with it, have fun. But if it was me, I'm not going to use a bunch of processing power on the gadgets. But again, if you have a big computer, brand new computer, a lot of memory, hey, why not? It makes your computing environment easier to use. So the final thing we need to discuss, and we've demonstrated this in class, is just changing the date and time. And it's as easy as coming down here, double-clicking on the date, and it'll open up the date and time application. Once that's open, we can just choose Change Date and Time Settings. It'll bring up the date and time. Remember, we can't do this at the computers at school, but we can certainly do it and practice it on your computers at home. But don't forget, change back the time. So we can do change date time. We can change our time zone. So if we take a trip and we're no longer on the Pacific Northwest, we go to Arizona, we can change the time accordingly right there. Now I'm going to choose cancel, come into change date and time. It's going to remind me that I need elevated privileges to do this, and I can manually change the date and time here. Say OK, and my time will change. So that's it for time. Practice those, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, so finally, let's look at customizing our start menu. We want to make sure that the start menu here has the features and functionalities we want it to have. So there's some basic things that we want to do. If you notice, there's a line here, and these items up here have been pinned to the start menu. So I'm going to come down here to all programs. I'm going to go to Windows Calendar. I'm not going to actually click on Calendar, but I'm going to right click on Calendar, and I'm going to say pin to the start menu. So as I do that, pin to the start menu, and I go back, if you notice my Windows calendar is now pinned to the start menu. So we're going to click outside the start menu to close it. Okay, we're going to click on Control Panel, Appearance, Personalization Taskbar, so I can come in here, Control Panel, Appearance and Personalization, and one of my options here is to customize the start menu. Okay, so I'm going to just choose Customize the Start menu here. In the Start menu options buttons, if you notice, I've got a couple options here. I can do the Start menu, or I can do a classic Start menu. Let's go look at what the classic Start menu look like. I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to hit the Start menu. So here's that old sort of Windows XP classic Start menu. I'm going to go back here to the regular Start menu and hit Apply. And in the Start menu, I'm going to choose Customize, so I can even customize that Start menu even further. So some things that I want to show you that the book doesn't show you here, I can display things as a link, as a menu, so that they expand, connect to these kind of things. A bunch of stuff in here that really will customize the Start menu to suit your needs. Now, one of the big things that I always like to do is the number of recent programs to display. So let's look at the Start menu here, and if you notice, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 programs. So these are basically the last 9 programs that I've used. Well, I tend to use a lot more than 9 programs, so I might take this up to, say, 12. I'll say OK. Say OK here. And now I could have up to 12 things show up in this list. Okay, so that's one thing that you might want to look at. Maybe you don't like as many. You can take it down to 4. But remember, we don't necessarily want to have a bunch of things here, in that we can pin things that we use most often up here. The defaults here is you're going to find a browser, you're going to find an email client, and then whatever else you want to customize to the calendar. Now, of course, to get something off of there, we can just right-click, choose Unpin. Like, I'll unpin this, I'll unpin the email, and then we're good to go. All right, so I hope this helps with customizing the Start menu.